Welcome, Mr. Dome, and welcome to this crypto update. As you can see, last week we had a breakout of this yellow line to the upside. And if I zoom in, you can see that we had the breakout, then we already had the retouch, and then we went back to the upside. And on Friday, as you can see, we had the pump to the upside. This came on the expectation that Michael Saylor's strategy company might be listed on S&P 500, and it wasn't listed in the S&P 500 though, so the price of Bitcoin dumped, and also the price of strategy stock started to go down a little bit. Now this week, obviously the question is, will the downturn continue, or if we will go to the upside? And I believe this is going to be the next move. So we actually go down first, and we might even go lower than the current trend line. If I zoom out, we might go a little bit lower than that, but from there I do expect a violent move basically back to the upside and hit $116,000 in the short term. Now it could go the other way around also, that we go up first and then down, but I believe the markets want to go down first to basically continue the dump after the announcement that Michael Saylor's strategy was not listed on S&P 500. I think that will happen on Monday, Tuesday, and then we will liquidate these long positions here, and then we continue to the upside. That's what it seems like the markets want to do. From $116,000, I haven't made up my mind yet, but it could be basically, obviously it could be it could continue further from there, but we had the open CME gap, so I believe a lot of whales will exit there. So I think we will have a move to the downside from there. The only question is how low we go from there. So, but we're not there yet, so I'm not gonna speculate on that for now. So anyway, I will expect that we go down first, then up. And the biggest reason why I believe it will go this way around is when we take a look at liquidation data. So here we are looking at the futures markets liquidation areas, and here you can see that right below us, $107,000, we have a bright yellow area, which tells us that this is an area of massive liquidations. So it seems like Bitcoin really wants to go that price. And obviously we do have quite a bit of areas above us as well, but not as much color as we have below us. And this area here basically stretches all the way to $103,000. It might go that low as well. But because we have the rate cuts coming in about, I think, 8 or 10 days from now, something like that, 8 or 9 days from now, I think the markets still want to go up, and the markets will pump towards the rate cut when the expectations start to go higher. So that's basically my current expectation. And another indicator why I think we will go lower first is also, or to basically confirm what I just told you guys, is when we go and take a look at the order book depth historically. So when we take a look at the futures order book depth, what's interesting here is that before we reach the all-time high here on 14th of August, we started to see a lot of buy dominance on futures market in the limit order books. And even after it hit the all-time high and it basically dropped to these current levels, we only see green areas here, which tells me that the futures traders are holding the price higher. And because the price is basically stagnant, it tells me that spot buyers haven't been buying Bitcoin as much. And that is true also when we look at here. So here you can see the spot order book depth, and here we are seeing less and less buy interest in Bitcoin as the price has gone down, and even as Bitcoin had that breakout to the upside. So as of now, so right now it's the futures traders only who support the price move here. So for that reason, I believe these futures traders will get wrecked first, and that's why we will go to $107,000. We could go even lower than that, but if we go to $103,000, I have to say I will get a little bit scary, because we might be looking at a trend reversal, because on the chart here, Let me actually zoom in. You can see we currently have this supporting trend line here. So if we go all the way to $103,000 right now, then we're basically mid-level already to this trend line here. So it seems like if we go to 103 already, then we might as well go to $97,000 or something like that to retest this trend line here. So $107,000, I hope for a bounce there. If we go to 103, then I believe we do get a bounce anyway, but then we might be looking for a trend reversal, and that's not obviously what we want. So anyway, that's the situation in the short term. I believe we go to 107K, then pump back to the upside. That's the idea as of now. Now, what is interesting in this current market is that retail investors continue to exit the market. So last week I told you that, guys, that, on Google Trends, that we basically saw very little retail buyer interest here on the Google searches, but now it's even less than that. So Bitcoin dropped from number 18 to number 14, and we have to go back in this chart all the way. We have to go through 2024, we have to go through 2023, we have to go through 2022, 2021, and at 2020, finally we see a number lower than what we currently see on Google searches. So that tells me that retail investors have absolutely no interest in Bitcoin at these price levels. So right now it's the futures traders who support this market. It's not the retail investors. Even some whales are exiting the market, as I will show you soon. So futures traders cannot hold the market on their own. So that's why I feel like they will get punished first before the rate cuts happen. After they get raped and liquidated, then finally towards the rate cuts, we get the relief rally. And during rate cuts, that could be the sell the news event, or it could be a shift in fundamentals, and we start to trend upwards from there if we start seeing institutional capital flowing into Bitcoin. But that remains to be seen. Remains to be seen. And even the crypto interest is at number 8, and last time it was 8 is basically here in June 2025. So very low number anyway, because it's usually not 8 or 7 or anything like that. So retail investors are basically completely out of the market. They still have some interest in altcoins, but even altcoins are not that interesting for retail investors as of now. So that's the situation with those things. Now, I also want to mention a little bit about geopolitics. So, what happened in with Trump is one of the craziest things I have seen in my life. So they went ahead and changed the name of Department of Defense into Department of War. And this has ramifications for crypto and Bitcoin because fundamentally, in my opinion, this tells me this is a capitulation that we are no longer living in a unipolar world where United States is the superpower that can dictate to other countries what they can and cannot do. I believe the naming of Department of War is what historians in the future will look like, and they will say this was the defining moment that basically told the world that the United States is no longer the top dog of the world. So I have to give a little bit of context on what's going on here. So number one, we used to live in a bipolar world after World War II, when we had the Soviet Union and United States competing for influence in different parts of the world. Then Soviet Union collapsed, and then unipolar world started. And right now we're headed in, or we are now living in multipolar world. And I believe the superpowers right now are United States, European Union, we have Russia, and we have China. Those are the four superpowers. And for those superpowers, you can combine them basically to NATO, and you can combine them to a BRICS organization. So as of now, in my opinion, the BRICS organization is more powerful than is the NATO alliance. And that is clear to me if you just understand the art of war. So you probably heard of the guy called Sun Tzu who wrote The Art of the War, and he has this famous quote that says, "Appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak." And I believe this is exactly what Trump is trying to do here, is that he's trying to appear strong when he is actually weak. And I have been reporting about these different wars, but it is clear that Ukraine will lose this war. I think the realization is starting to spread more and more wider, and United States could not beat down Yemen. They couldn't beat down Iran. They couldn't beat down even Hamas as of now, and obviously they couldn't beat down Russia. So right now it's clear that the power is shifting towards the east or the global south. You saw it with India and Brazil, even though they were hit with 50% tariffs. They are like, okay, we take the tariffs then. And then what happened immediately is more trades open with China, more trades open with Russia. And now they have the new mega gas pipe opening from Russia to China, and from China it will continue to other parts in Asia as well. So United States is now trying to appear as strong as they can, and what they are doing with that is they are now going ahead and attacking countries like Venezuela or the cartels in Venezuela. So here you can see JD Vance is saying, "Killing cartel members who poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military." Now, this is obviously a little bit insane, because obviously the best use of military is to actually defend your country. But what they want to do is they want to go to other countries and attack potential criminals there. And even that is insane, because normally if you attack criminals, you need to have due process, because who knows if that person was actually a criminal or if it was a civilian, because you only have to trust, or you can only trust what the government says, that that was a criminal or that wasn't a criminal. There's no investigations to anything. So when you unlock this kind of lethal power, you can see how it can become corrupt and how it can be misused for nefarious purposes. So obviously I disagree with this statement here. Even though I agree with it fundamentally, I disagree with it in practice, because in practice it leads to all kinds of silly things and retaliations. And this was the funniest comment after that statement. It was already insane what he said here, but it continues to get even more insane. So he says, "Democrats, let's send your kids to die in Russia. Republicans, actually, let's protect our people from the scum of the earth." So when I read this, I'm like, okay, that's interesting, because now you've just insulted every single person on the planet except for the Israelis. So what happened? Let me dissect here, and I will come back to crypto, why it affects crypto and Bitcoin. So here he says, "Let's send your kids to die in Russia." Well, first off, this clearly says that you're gonna die in Russia. So it's a war that you're gonna lose. Also, it says you're gonna die in Russia, which means that Ukraine belongs to Russia. So you're basically pissing off your allies with this statement in multiple ways. But then he goes again, goes and pisses off Russia and China in the next comment. "Let's protect our people from the scum of the earth." And the scum of the earth is referencing Iran, it is referencing Venezuela, who are trying to be partners of Russia and China. So now he's basically insulted everybody except for Israel. So I was laughing here under this comment, that truly a diplomatic marvel. This just tells me that the United States is completely losing the plot here in geopolitics. Russia and China are becoming the reasonable side of these two different sides on the planet, and that's why more countries will navigate towards Russia and China in the future. And the United States, sure, they can destroy Venezuela, sure, they can bomb the hell out of it, but as they do that, countries who are not Venezuela will look at that, and they will use that opportunity to escape the Western influence into the East when United States is bogged down fighting Venezuela. So the both is leaking and it will only get worse. But I still believe United States will be a major power on the planet. Definitely they have a lot of wealth, they still have a lot of influence. People want to continue to trade with the United States, but with these tariffs, with all of the craziness that Trump is doing, these empty threats, these insults to everybody, I feel like they're actually shooting themselves in the foot, and they are deliberately, basically, I don't know if that's deliberate or not, but the cause of this is that Bitcoin and crypto, they will basically be the neutral currencies between these superpowers as they develop their own banking systems, as the trade continues, and they print themselves or try to print themselves out of these problems. So Bitcoin will become the shining beacon as well as gold between this geopolitical uh, circus. I guess I could use that word. So anyway, what I'm getting at is that fundamentally Bitcoin and crypto are going to be more and more valuable. I made another uh, joke here about the same thing here. MAGA promised Doge, MAGA delivered Department of War, and historians will say starting from this day, USA is Western alliance and their fake democracy is no longer the dominant power on the planet. And why do I say fake democracy? I say it because when you take a look at the popularity of Macron, if you take a look at the popularity of Trudeau or what's the new guy, Carney, or the Chancellor of Germany, Starmer from UK. All of those are basically the lowest ratings they have had any time in their history of the leaders of those specific countries. So clearly, they are not uh, doing democracy, because democracy would be doing what the people want, but if you don't have popularity, that means you are not doing what the people want. So clearly, they don't have true democracy as of now. Anyway, I'm getting on a tangent here. I'm going forward. So Ethereum staking queue continues to increase uh, compared to the exit queue for stakers. So this is fundamentally extremely good. 818,000 in the entry queue, 655,000 Ethereum in the exit queue. On the ETF front, we saw quite a bit of outflows, especially on Friday. On Ethereum front, $450 million left the Ethereum ETF, and on Bitcoin, I think the numbers of exiting is much lower than on Ethereum. So even though long-term holders, stakers, they still believe in the Ethereum future, the ETF holders are basically selling uh, into this uncertainty. The Bitcoin treasuries, they have acquired a little bit more Bitcoin here. So in my previous update, this was basically 10,000 Bitcoin less. Now it's 10,000 Bitcoin more. So they have acquired a little bit more. And we also have 3 more entities holding Bitcoin in this tracker here. For Ethereum strategic reserves, I don't have an update, but I think we're gonna see some announcements through this week. And for sentiment.net, here we do have some contradicting info. So first off, the stablecoin market cap has increased. So it's currently $243 billion. So that was a nice increase during last week, roughly $2 billion. Very good to see. And then we saw old whales actually exiting Bitcoin at during Friday, when there was the speculation that MSTR might be listed in the S&P 500. So some whales took that opportunity and sold Bitcoin on that pump there. So we saw 22,500 Bitcoin from old whales basically leaving their wallets. So that tells me that, like I showed you guys in the previous updates, that when we see pumps to the upside, whales will use that opportunity to sell there as well. So I believe that will be the case also when we go to $116,000. So be prepared on that time to actually exit some of your Bitcoin holdings, or consider selling some Bitcoin when Bitcoin hits that $116,000 price. Um, and also, I guess, well, that's the most important thing for there. The other fundamentals I pretty much already covered. So all in all, what I'm getting at in Bitcoin is that fundamentally Bitcoin is strong. We have the rate cuts coming. The geopolitical tensions cause people to look for alternatives. They know that dollar dominance is probably going to go down. We know that the 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 popularity of Russia and China will continue to grow. So that is fundamentally good for Bitcoin as people are hedging against the dollar. But in the short term, we're likely going to hit these long liquidations here because they are over leveraged. And from there, I think we're going to hit $116,000 and there some whales will exit. So from there, we either hit like this, or we go and unfortunately go back to this lower part of this channel. But I don't want to talk about that yet. I think this is gonna play out like I've shown here. Anyway, that's it for the update today, guys. Hope you liked it. I hope you don't hit me too hard on my geopolitical analysis in the comments. But anyway, thanks for watching and bye bye.